Hopkins Pro Football Plus out here at Commanders headquarters as the 3-1 Washington Commanders. Let me just say that one more time. 3-1 Washington Commanders get ready for their home game against the Cleveland Browns. And when you look at this team over the last 2 weeks, especially on offense, they've been a scoring machine. And one person that comes to mind, although this is a team effort, is quarterback Jayden Daniels. He's the talk of the town. He's the talk nationally across the NFL, Lake. And when you look at what he's been able to do as a young rookie quarterback, I think everybody is pretty much surprised about his production this early on. But it also helps to have a good running game. And Austin Eckler out last week with the concussion, possibly going to be back this week. But Jeremy McNichols is a guy that came in, scored 2 touchdowns. And Brian Robinson, what can I say about him? He's just been a productive running, power running. When you watch how he runs, you've got to like that. I watched him in the game against Arizona. If you weren't watching close on the sideline when the cameras was off, it was almost like, get off of me. I mean, so he's just a tough runner. And you talk about that offensive line. They have been better because of Jayden Daniels and what he's been able to do as a quarterback with his feet, with his accuracy, getting rid of the ball quickly. But, Lake, what have you seen from this offense beyond just Jayden Daniels? And you can elaborate on him because everybody else is talking about him across the nation. What have you seen from this offense in the last 2 weeks? They look like the wide receivers. This team is clicking right now offensively.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything right. Cliff Kingsbury, it starts with him as far as his offensive schemes, and everything he's doing right now is getting guys the ball, and he's getting the guys the ball in open space. And then, of course, you obviously mentioned Jayden Daniels. I mean, when you have that kind of talent at the most important position in all of sports, it gives you a chance to win games and be successful every week. And I think as long as he's being asked to do things that's within his wheelhouse, within his comfort range, I think that they're going to continue to be successful each and every week. Right now, he's seeing the field. They're not asking him to have to win the game by himself. They're asking him to stay within the scheme. But more importantly, when they do have to do things off schedule, when he has to, run for a first down or make a play happen, we know that he has the dynamic ability to do that. So everything for Washington right now on the offense is clicking. I mean, Terry McLaurin's involved in the offense now. They're going to run the football. We saw an unheralded, unsung player last week in Jeremy McNichol, as you mentioned, perform well. Well, if Austin Eckler comes back this week, you're just adding more weapons to the arsenal. So it's only going to be, upward from here on out.
That's a good thing to have as far as the weapons that they have in the backfield. Finding out, I think they already knew what they had in Jerry McNichols, but it kind of helps to see it on the field in the game type situation. But the other thing that I have not mentioned is Cliff Kingsbury as far as what he's been able to dial up in these last 2 games. He took some heavy criticism from everybody, especially in that Cincinnati game. Some of the Bengals were saying that his offense was vanilla. It was more like college type. Well, guess what? What he's thrown at these teams the last 2 weeks, and I think that what makes Cliff even better is that his offense is tailored to Jayden's strengths. So he's dialing up an offense to his strength. But I got a chance to talk to a lot of players, and they're not, getting so high about this 3-1 record. I think they're more level-headed than everybody else out there. And the fans have a lot to be happy about. But let's go to the locker room to hear what the players had to say about this 3-1 start, but more so about facing the Cleveland Browns this coming week. What is the key coming up this week? You've been able to set back last week, watch this offense, but what's the key this week when facing the Browns in that defense?
Yeah, it comes down to making sure that we're at the right spot, stay mistake-free. It's, hey, how can we continue to stay poised? We had to handle Myles Garrett. He's definitely a problem. I had an offensive coordinator say these guys are werewolves. Like, you got to stop their werewolves. They got a good defensive front, and so we're giving them the respect that they've earned, with chips and doing different things to make sure that we can keep them occupied and off of our quarterback. So that's a big one.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, this offense has been a scoring machine. You're talking about solid performances. What do you contribute that to, along with what the production from the wide receivers? Because everybody is in the mix right now. When I talk about you, Luke, Terry, Olamide. Hey, you thought I wasn't going to get that wrong, right? What has been the key?
I just think we just, we all want to be competitors, and we did that together as a group. With the whole offense, we consider ourselves a brotherhood as a team as well. So I think just that, and then working on our craft every single day and just competing every single day, that's what got us to the point that we're at.
Are you surprised at this offense as how much you all have been able to click so early?
Oh, definitely not. I'm not surprised at all. It's crazy because, I was telling Jaden, like, man, we're going to be good, especially with all the pieces that we have and who we have on this team. Like, we could be a very good team. We just have to all put it together. And you can see that's how it's going. So we just want to keep our momentum going and still take it day by day, solidify the details and, just pick up on that. And then at the end of the day, just be us.
Talk about the pieces. One of those key pieces is Jaden Daniels. You got a quarterback of his caliber. What have you liked about, you almost say probably everything. What do you like most about just watching how he operates?
For me, it's just that dog mentality. And you can see he has a sense of urgency, and like I said again, that confidence is, it's out the roof. And just with him being him, I like that a lot from him. Just being a dog and being a competitor and not wanting to lose. I think that's a big thing as well. So that's what I see out of him.
It's early, but 3-1. Atop of the NFC East division. Did you see that really happening? And tell me the truth.
I saw a change coming. I knew something was going to be different, but where we at right now, I just think we just have to take it one day at a time, one game at a time. And at the end of the day, we want to leave it 0-0, and then going to Sunday, we want to finish off 1-0. So just take it 1 week at a time.
What excites you most about just this 3-1 start of this team?
I think it just shows a lot of what we have, and we still have a long way to go. So we can continue to get better, and the things that we're doing now, we just want to capitalize and just finish.
On wide receiver-wise, what have you seen mostly in the last 2 weeks from this group? Because it seems like you all are on the same page, clicking even more so with Jaden.
I think it's just that relationship, and we're not a selfish group at all. I think we all, can buy into what we have, and then we're trusting in that process that we have too with him as well. And I think at the end of the day, as long as we're on the same page, we're all good.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of fun, and I've said this, pretty much week after week. We're going to continue to get better because we're continuing to learn how each other likes to play, how we like to communicate. And my communication with Ty has gotten better every week. With Luke and Brandon, it's gotten better every week. Even with me and Sam, not playing next to each other, but understanding what he sees as a guard and what I see as a guard, and if we're able to help each other. So it's been really cool how we've been able to develop the communication this quickly, but I think it's going to continue to get better. I think DQ and AP did a great job, getting the entire organization to buy in to understanding that you have to care about each other. It's really hard in this league to build a locker room that feels a connection, because you start training camp with 90 guys, a month and a half later, 37 guys are going to get fired. It is hard. So understanding that competing against each other, you can compete against each other but still make each other better. It doesn't have to be, a negative relationship. You can turn it into a positive relationship. I think that's something we did in training camp that is helping us now. And it is such a new locker room, but there is a lot of good connections formed all over it, offensively, defensively, special teams. So it's been, it's really impressive to see what AP and DQ were able to do, building this locker room, and I've really enjoyed the guys in there. He's blown me away. It is impressive. I've talked about it in training camp, and I remember having some interviews, and I was saying some things that I was like, yeah, he's shocking me, but we've only seen him for 2 drives in the preseason. But now we've seen it on a little bit bigger scale, and he is unshaken in a sport and in a position that constantly rattles people. He stays, like he said, he stays very even-keeled, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Was awesome to see. He kind of let some emotions go towards the end of that game, and he just he has fun playing this game, and that is so important. Respecting what this game is, how fun it is, and the fact that it's not exactly the same game we played as kids, but it is still a game. You get to have so much fun every Sunday, and the teams that have fun playing this sport have more success.
Hey Nick, one last question. In this 3-1 start, what do you like most about what you're seeing from this offense, and in looking ahead to Cleveland a little bit?
I mean, every week there's been new stuff that we've learned about our offense. I think there's still so many different things that we're gonna figure out. So I've had a lot of fun learning how Cliff's calling games, learning the amount of options that we have offensively, whether it's gap schemes or zone schemes in the run game with, B-Rob, J-Mac, Eck. I mean, all the guys on the outside, and then watching Jaden do his thing. So it has been a blast this first 4 weeks. Really excited for the rest of the season.
You all are top the NFC division. How does that make you feel as far as seeing where this team is headed?
Yeah, I think it's best summed up in the game. I think it was the third quarter. At one point, offense is coming off after a scoring drive, and Terry just comes up to me, gives me a high five, and he goes, "Hey, man, this is fun." And I was like, yes, this is. And so it's what we were just talking inside. And I think the thing that's really cool, too, is when we lost week 1 and then we just won last week, there's no difference, like with DQ, with the staff, with everybody like that. It's just rinse and repeat. Here we go. Let's just keep it rolling. So it's been cool.
Hey, Tress, you really have been working hard this season,
I have.
really.
Yeah.
But when you look at the special teams, you all haven't had to do a lot because the offense is a scoring machine right now that is making your job less each week, that you don't have to get out of the field.
Yeah, that's right. I think the fun way that we prepare with special teams, and that's just really a fun mindset and a cool mindset, a different mindset. It's just whenever you're called upon, you got to be ready to roll and you got to cut it loose. And what I love about Izzo is preaching the energy. Like, bring the energy, bring the juice, the plays, the flip in the field, whatever it is, bring the juice. And whenever you get called, that's all we got to try and do is bring the juice. So it's been a fun like twist on this year, is we don't know when we're getting called in, but let's just try and bring some juice.
Is it fun because of the fact that you're seeing the offense role that you don't have to do anything right now because they're doing what they're supposed to do, is a scoring machine?
It is fun because of wins. There's pretty wins, ugly wins, but just find a way to win. And that's what I think DQ always preaches to us, is just be ready to fight whenever, however, just win. So that's been the fun part.
From what I'm hearing, Lake, it's supposed to be a packed crowd. Not so many Browns fans, I don't think so, because with this 3-1 start, a lot of the Commanders fans are going to get to the stadium early because they want to see this team. But as we move on from the offensive side of the ball and go to the defense, we have been heavily on this defense, and rightly so, because of their performance over the weeks. Last week was the most complete game this unit played overall. And Coach Witt challenged these players up front to be more pressure up there. And Armstrong was one of the guys that stepped up big. And you even heard, as far as Allen and Payne, to me, had a better game. This was by far their best game of this year. Do we need to see more out of them? Why, of course we do. And even the secondary, they talked about the community. They talked about as far as tackling well and the leverage. Coach Witt talked about all those things that needed to improve, which you saw some improvement last week, but they still need to improve in more areas. Before I let you comment on the defense, let's go back to the locker room. I got a chance to talk to Frankie Louvu, one of my favorite players, one of those players that you will hear about on the field because of his play each week. Let's see what he had to say. Frankie, 3-1 team going in to get ready to play the Cleveland Browns. Talk to me about what you've seen from this defense over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Just trying to get better week in, week out. I know there's a lot of flies flying around, but just got a bunch of guys, man, just coming in to work and trying to get better at our craft. Like I said, we don't go out there and purposely, give up points. And we're building, and everybody's coming together, and we come together.
Speaking about coming together, when you look at last week, what the defense was able to do overall, it seems like that was the most complete effort from this whole team, where they were defensively, you all were on the same page.
Right, and that's what you want defense to be, everybody on the same page, and I think when we do that, we are playing at our best. So, you know, it was fun. It was fun to have the guys doing what they do and, you know, making plays. And at the end of the day, I mean, defense should be playing like that every game. But, you know, it's not going to be perfect. But that's the mindset when we head in.
Your play. When you look at, or when you talk to Coach Witt and all of them, they said your type of play right now is what they want to see from all 11 guys.
Yeah, man. You know, I can show more than I can say. You know, man, the guys. I know the guys have it in them. It's just, you know, us just, like I said, you know, studying and knowing our keys knowing our opponent before we go. So, and like I said, man, everybody got it. We got the physical aspect of it, mental, and you know, it's a new time. You know, the guys are all flying around. So, I mean, I appreciate Joe Witt. Shout out, you know, that's just me. Yeah. Shout out Witt, man, the whole staff. You know, just putting me in a position to you know, make plays.
Do you feel like that because you all are 4 games in, that it's because you're feeling even more comfortable with this defense, what they're asking you to do? Is that why you can see just your play being elevated even more so right now?
Yeah, you know, they move me around a lot. They put me in positions to win, and you know, also have positions to disguise, and you know, Bobby be going. So, you know, or I'm showing, and Chin is going. Like, there's a whole part. We all tying together. You know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we're all like we're like a string. You know, you pull one way, and we all attach at one time. So, yeah, man. Like I said, I'm just feeling comfortable where they put me at, and you know, it's just the start from here.
You're fun to watch, but looking at Cleveland and looking at what Coach Witt has, you know, basically said each week, we want you to improve upon the pass rush, we want you to improve upon the tackling, we want you to improve upon the communication and all of that. What is the key moving forward with, you saw some of that last week, but what do you feel that you still can improve upon as a defense?
As a defense, I mean, you said it yourself, you know, our tackling, our communication, you can't get enough of that. I mean, our pre-snap communication is going to help us after our post-snaps and seeing our keys and helping us play faster. So I don't think there's always room to improve on. So as a defense, we just need to communicate more. Our tackling, you know, get it down when we're in our zone coverages, and just 11 guys all on the same page. So yeah.
Hey, Mike, last game and even going into this game against Cleveland, what are some of the things that you've seen that you all have improved on? Because the coaches have challenged you all to say, hey, we wanted you all to be better with the communications, tackling, and so forth. But what did you see really last week that really had that complete game from the defense?
I believe we communicated at a very high level. And, you know, when you turn the film on, like almost every play, there was 11 guys around the football. And I think, you know, when you run to the football, good things happen. We were able to, you know, force a fumble with Frankie Louvu pulling one out, later in the game. But just being able to be around the football, you know, you never know when one could come out. So just having 11 hats to the ball at all times, I think that's, you know, a play style that we carry on this defense.
I talked to you a couple of weeks ago, and I said, what was the key on defense that you all had to really work on? You told me the other week is getting off the field on third downs. That's something that you all did. More or less, the defense as a whole played a complete game. Just talk a little bit about what happened last week and the improvement that you saw on the field overall.
I just felt like we was out there having fun. I mean, I feel like a lot of people felt our energy that we was playing with. The guys up front really got out the quarterback, and I mean, I was telling John Allen, I'm like, man, it's a block party in the backfield. So, man, it was fun to watch, and you know, just fun to finally put a complete game together on defense.
2 players I'm going to mention that they got on this squad was Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu. And you're starting to see why they got these 2 players. And the play of Frankie Louvu has been off the scales these last few weeks.
Yeah, he has. He's given this team a tenacity, the defense that they need, kind of the tone setter. And, you know, his hits have been very physical. He's embodying exactly what Joe Witt, the defensive coordinator, said when he first got here, that he wanted guys to arrive to the ball in a violent manner. And I think that is Frankie Louvu. And now you're seeing Bobby Wagner, the Hall of Famer, starting to establish himself. And it was just a matter of time before these two started clicking as a tandem. And I think now, if you can get that kind of performance up front, especially in the middle of the field where John Allen and Deron Payne are holding up guys in the middle of the field, you're going to let your linebackers behind you be able to roam around and eat and do some things. So I think for this defense, it's a good sign that, look, the offense kind of outpaced them early, but now the defense is starting to get their feet under them. And as long as in the back end they can get that communication, I think everything is there for Frankie and for Bobby to really establish themselves, not just in Washington, but around the league as one of the best tandems at linebacker in the NFL.
What you make of Armstrong last week? Because this is a guy that made some noise and helped them out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that Dan Quinn and Joe Witt obviously are familiar with because they brought him in from Dallas as a free agent. And last year he had 8.5 sacks for Dallas in a limited role. So you just naturally assume that coming here, he was going to have more of a featured, opportunity coming around the edge. And he gives them that. And he's also a pretty good run defender as well. So this isn't just a guy that's only going to come around the edge. I mean, he's a legit lineman. He's a legit three-technique guy. So I think what they're going to do with him now is you'll start maybe seeing him rotate to the other side of the field. And Joe Witt's going to mix it up. What you get on tape is not what you're going to see the following week. So I like what Dorrance Armstrong's doing. He's definitely one of the strongest players on this team, and you're starting to see that. He's starting to emerge.
Yeah, they're mixing it up a lot on defense, and I think that's what's helping them. And I think Coach Witt talked about they're going to place the best players on the field. It could be different players each week that they put on the field. But they've got the Cleveland Browns coming in, and Deshaun Watson is a quarterback that, since he's been in Cleveland, really has not even stepped up to the plate to knock a home run or even ground ball in the field of play. But, you never can take him out of the mix just because he has not played well, since he was with the Texans, and he's come here and they haven't gotten their money out of him. This team in Cleveland is pretty good on the defensive side of the ball overall. So you cannot take them light just because you say that their season hasn't materialized over the last few years the way they thought, because they had every opportunity to be good, this Cleveland Browns team, because of the drafts. They'd have had so many quarterbacks, opportunities for high draft choices across the line, but just haven't been able to turn the page. Hopefully this week they won't be turning the page again. What is key? Because the players are not taking them light.
And they were a team that I thought, before the season started could be a legitimate challenge to Kansas City. I thought that they had that kind of weaponry, and obviously they had a pretty good defense with, one of the best players in all of football in Myles Garrett. But it just hasn't worked. I think Stefanski's a great young coach. I really do. Look at what he did last year with all the different quarterbacks they had, and they still went into Texas and battled the Texans last year in the playoffs with Joe Flacco as their starter. But whatever reason this year, it's year to year in the NFL, and this year they just don't have their mojo. However, they do have a quarterback that traditionally has given Washington fits. And obviously this is a different regime, different group of people. But if you're Washington, you're going to be in front of a rabid home crowd. Probably, Donna, for the first time that we can remember in recent memory. It should be 80-20 Commanders fans, maybe even more, because everyone wants to see, Jaden. So if you're the Commanders, you have a chance now to really grab a fan base that's rabid right now, excited about your success. You have to beat Cleveland. You have to go at Cleveland and keep everything away from Myles Garrett on one side of the field and let Jaden make plays and let Terry make some plays. But if they can win this football game, which I'm predicting they will, this town's going to really be a buzz.
Oh, yeah, it's already buzzing. It's going to be off the charts if this team beats the Cleveland Browns. But keys to me in this game, as far as this Commanders team, of course, the offense has kept the ball. They don't even punt. I teased Tressway this week that, hey, man, you really ain't doing your job this year. But all jokes aside, he hasn't had to punt the ball because this offense has scored almost every time that they had the ball. They're ranked 6th in the NFL on offense, and I think as far as yardage or something like that, is 3rd or something like that, but they're high up there. But they've got to consistently still run the ball. This run really sets up and helps out Jaden a lot. And on the defensive side, on 3rd downs, they're still talking about 3rd downs, getting the team off the field, containment and all of that. Same thing this week. What are your keys before we wrap this up?
I think Washington just needs to continue to do what they do. I mean, just don't turn the football over. Be opportunistic on offense, establish the run early. The offensive line for them under Bobby Johnson has done an excellent job. So if they can come out and establish Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler looks like he's on pace to play. And then, of course, Jeremy McNichols is another guy that gives you a three-headed monster now in the backfield. If you can run the football on a team that likes to put pressure on quarterbacks, it'll kind of catch Cleveland off guard, and then you can let Jaden do his thing. I'm thinking Washington takes a couple deep shots in this game as well to back up that defense as far as the pressure. And then on defense, if they can continue the output that they had last week as far as getting pressure on a mobile quarterback. I mean, in the second half, they pretty much bottled up Kyler Murray. If they can do that with Deshaun Watson and maybe a Jerome Ford or, I don't think Nick Chubb's going to play this weekend, but you never know. If they can keep Cleveland's run game in tow, I just don't know if Cleveland has enough on the outside. Amari Cooper's there, some other guys, but I don't know if they have enough on the outside, Jerry Jeudy, to really make this a game. I think Washington wins this football game, Donna, going away.
Okay, he said going away. And on the defensive side of the ball, third downs, as far as that run defense, that's one area that they've got to improve upon because they come right down the middle, punching it to the Commanders. But this Commanders team have been on fire. By far, last week, their best game. But it's a new opponent this coming week, the Cleveland Browns. Washington Commanders at home. Donna Hopkins out here at Commanders headquarters as we get ready for hopefully another win by this Commanders team.